In his clash with the far right over immigration, Elon Musk is now going after the hardliners, the very heart of the MAGA base, labeling them just a few hours ago as, quote, contemptible fools who must be removed from the Republican Party root and stem.
Opinions vary.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Varied. That's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And the media has what it wants. The Democrat Party has what it wants right now, and it looks like that is a rift between coalitions in Donald Trump's MAGA party. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's actually a good discussion to have, and it has to do with the HB1 visa program. Something that I did a video on the other day, I'll put it up top, that I was familiar with it, but didn't really know a lot about it. Familiar with how it did bring people in from other countries to take jobs from Americans, sometimes in a good way, a lot of times it appears in a bad way. Fraud, abuse, corruption, everything else that goes with any government program, right? So I think it's actually a good discussion to have, and it all started when Trump appointed Sriram Krishnan, I hope I'm saying it correctly again, to be his senior advisor on AI. And the real issue here with him, to a lot of people that the media won't really talk about, is that it appears he's someone who wants to expand the HB1 program and remove caps from it. Now, there's also been people saying that's not true. That's not what he wants to do. That's not his stance. But as of now, we haven't really heard anything from Donald Trump about it. And I'll get into that a little bit later, how I feel about that. But we're going to hear from Kristen Collins on CNN right now, who's going to have a little bit of Steve Bannon, and then we're going to have a Abby Phillips roundtable, I Can't Resist, with Scott Jennings, where they actually have 3 conservatives to 1 lunatic, leftist on, which I think maybe they're learning the lesson, where maybe put a few more conservatives on and you might get people to actually watch a little bit. I don't know. Without any further ado, let's go.
Musk now finds himself pitted against the likes of Steve Bannon, however, Trump's former White House aide, who came out against Musk's push for H-1B visas, which allow highly skilled foreign workers into the U.S. and has long been the lifeblood of Silicon Valley.
H-1B visas, that's not what it's about. It's about taking American jobs and bringing over essentially what become indentured servants at lower wages. This thing's a scam by the oligarchs in Silicon Valley to basically take jobs from American citizens, give them to what become indentured servants from foreign countries, and then pay them less. Simple. To let them into through the golden door.
Now,
I can't disagree with anything Steve Bannon just said. Can you?
Bannon's comments align him with people like the far-right activist lauraloomer, who
We'll get into lauraloomer too.
has been bashing Musk for days now on this and is even accusing him of censoring her on his own platform.
He has.
She is the anti-immigrant Trump ally who is now claiming that her blue checkmark was removed, her subscriptions were deactivated, her character limits for tweets and posts.
See the shirt behind lauraloomer right there? Hang on. I'm going to go back for a second.
Claiming that her
Look
blue
at the
checkmark
woman with
was
the
removed,
shirt.
her subscriptions were deactivated.
DeSantis 24. I think Laura Loomer was for DeSantis in this cycle, the primary cycle. She was. They're making her seem like this ardent, Trump person and this and that. They're using because she's a lightning rod. She's a third rail. That's what Laura Loomer is. But Laura Loomer is not an elected official. Laura Loomer is somebody who spouts off on X. That's what she is. Who cares?
Her character limits for tweets and posts on X were limited for what she says is, quote, raising concerns and speaking the truth about the technocratic takeover of our country and the White House. Now, that was after she posted racist messages like this, saying our country was built by white Europeans, actually, not third world invaders from India.
Now, you see, Laura Loomer, when you use that tone, okay, you lost the conversation, okay? You might have some valid points, but when you go that route with that post on X right there, you're done. It's over. You just lost any high ground or any high ground when you had with actual facts. Go right out the window because you can't control yourself.
But all of this began after Trump named Sriram Krishnan, a tech entrepreneur and investor who was born in India, as his senior policy advisor on artificial intelligence. He's not an immigration advisor for Trump, but this started this entire backlash. And it's culminated today with Elon Musk not backing off of his stance, despite the backlash that he is facing from the MAGA right. Instead, he's writing tonight, anyone of any race, creed, or nationality who came to America and worked like hell to contribute to this country will forever have my respect.
Well, he forgot one word. Who came to this country legally. You forgot that word in that one, Elon.
Noticeably silent in all this infighting in his party? the president-elect himself.
All right, so you heard all that. You know, Laura Loomer, they're making her out to be this big deal. Laura Loomer is somebody on X who spouts off, okay? Most of the time, I don't agree with Laura Loomer. Sometimes she brings up good points. But as I said, when you go with that tone that she went in that last one, now you're done. You lost it. Nobody's going to pay attention to anything else you said. They're just going to focus on that. And if you're not smart enough to know that by now, that's why you never got elected to any public office. Now, what she just said at the end, how Trump has been silent on this, I don't know. I don't question Donald Trump's political instincts. He's usually right. There could be a million reasons why he's not saying anything about this right now. He might want the media to drone on about this to make fools of themselves, because they always do, because they can't, kind of like Laura Loomer, they can't resist going a bridge too far. And that's probably what they're going to end up doing. And then when this all works out in the end, he'll be able to use it against them. And a lot of Democrats are going to say a lot of stupid things, too, about this. And he'll be able to use that against them, too. That might be what he's thinking, because he knows damn well he can come out right now and put an end to this like that. He could stop it immediately. He could talk about Krishnan. He could say he's not going to tolerate any expansion of the program. He just wants to make the program work more efficiently, which we're going to get into with Scott Jennings on this Abby Phillips roundtable in a second. But he's not. Trump is keeping quiet right now. He's always got his reasons. So we'll see what happens. So now let's get into the roundtable with Abby Phillips, who for some reason after Labor Day and before Memorial Day is dressed all in white. I don't know. Just kidding. Who cares? I'm just making a joke. I don't know. So let's get into that right now. We'll see Scott Jennings. And as I said, 3 conservatives to 1 liberal lunatic on this roundtable. Let's go.
I think it is revealed that there is some elasticity in the party on its ability to debate the immigration issue. Certainly there are hardliners on immigration who have supported Donald Trump. He himself has been a hardliner, but he has also said repeatedly, publicly, that he wants immigration reform, that he wants to do something for the Dreamers. He has also talked about the need for people to come in to the country to do certain kinds of things. And then you have these other new supporters of Donald Trump who understand that if you're just recruiting like the top 0.1% of the best and most talented, say engineers from around the world, that's probably a good thing. I think where there's great alignment is on the need to eliminate the fraud in the program. And I think some of these visa programs are being used to bring people in for no other reason than to displace American workers and to do things more cheaply. So I think
he's 100% correct. And as the video I did the other day is, this program is rife with fraud, rife with abuse, and it needs to be addressed. The first thing he said, when you're bringing the best of the best to come in and do these jobs, I don't have a problem with that. If an American can't do it as well, I want the best person doing these types of jobs, because we do have to stay competitive in the global market when it comes to all this stuff. It has to happen. But people seem to always forget, and nobody ever talks about it. Immigration is not for the benefit of the immigrant. Immigration is for the benefit of the country the person is immigrating to. Immigration is to help the country they're coming to, not for their benefit. If they can come here and be a help to the country and then benefit themselves along the way, that's the whole purpose, right? But the first purpose of immigration is to bring people in to help your country.
Common ground and the way forward is bringing the people who are the goats, of engineering from around the world. Bring those people here.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Focus on American workers, American students for everything else. And that would be a good blend of how I think this is going to move forward.
That might be the case, but Laura Loomer is saying don't bring Indians into America.
Who cares? Again, who cares what Laura Loomer is saying, Abby Phillips? Nobody cares. Laura Loomer is not an elected official. She's not an elected official in the Republican Party, in any political party. As I said, she's a failed candidate who now spouts off on X. Who cares what Laura Loomer is saying? Elon Musk made her a bigger issue by now banning her and taking away a blue check mark, which I don't agree with. If you're a free speech absolutist, she didn't say anything to the point where she should be banned or have her account restricted. Okay, so in that regard, I believe Elon Musk is wrong.
I mean, she's pretty clear about what she's
I don't know if she's watched many Bollywood movies, but not only are they very good, but they're actually a lot more modest than Hollywood films. So that comment was a little bit off base, but I think what we're calling the tech right versus the MAGA right is really a long-standing split in the Republican Party between libertarians and conservatives. The Republican Party has been holding together those two groups for a long time, and they agree on about 70-80% of stuff. This is a thing they've always disagreed on. Libertarians value economic growth and efficiency and free markets above all else. Conservatives go halfway there, but at the end of the day, will side with protecting American workers from foreign competition. So, you have to give credit to Donald Trump for holding those two coalitions together throughout the entire campaign so that this fissure didn't actually come to light until after they won. And now you're seeing it come to light.
Where did the significant contingent of ethno-nationalists fall within the conservatism and libertarianism frame? I mean, to me, that doesn't necessarily fit within either of those two. And I think it is a significant thing within the MAGA coalition. But it also, this debate reveals something broader. You've got, I think...
Yeah, we're going to bring race into it. This has nothing to do with race. To people like Laura Loomer, it might, but honestly, to nobody else. It doesn't have anything to do with race. It has to do with bringing in the best and treating American workers fairly and giving them the shot first. Isn't that, regardless of what that American citizen's natural-born race is, the American citizen should have first shot at this. If we can't find one who can do the job well or up to the standard, that's when you take the HB1 program and you bring in the best from another country, whether it's India, whether it's Ireland, whether it's Russia, whether it's, I don't care, okay, whether it's from Mars. We bring in the best person. This is not a race issue, but like I said, the Democrats and the media can't help but go there, which I think is the reason that Donald Trump is kind of staying out of it right now.
Very incoherent MAGA coalition for years now, where you've got business elites driving the policy discussion, setting the policy agenda, as working class people are oftentimes getting screwed. I mean, the top priority for this incoming administration is going to be tax cuts for the wealthy. And we now see...
So we just went ahead and fixed the glitch.
This conversation about immigration not even taking shape the way that white working class people thought it would.
So he just went completely off of the immigration issue. Now he's talking about the tax cuts for the wealthy. That's why it's good there's only one of these fools on instead of, two or three, and then you have three people who are actually going to talk about the issue in a productive way. And Abby Phillips, a little hint, this is the route you should probably continue to go if you want your show to get a shred of credibility back, because this fool just went off on a complete tangent talking about how now tax cuts are just going to benefit the wealthy, which isn't true to begin with, but that's where he's going to go.
So if I may ask a question, Madison. So you think working class people have been screwed by the immigration policy of the last 4 years, where people are coming into the country and displacing American workers?
They call him Madison. His name's Mundair.
No, so I don't agree with the framing of that, actually.
Well, I'm just asking because you said it. How they're being screwed.
No, I didn't. I said white working class people are being screwed by the Republican Party, whose top priority is tax cuts for billionaires and for billion-dollar corporations.
But you would agree that
It's amazing. It really is.
You're a donut. You're so stupid. You're so stupid. You're stupid.
Flood of immigration has also screwed working class people.
Tax cuts don't help anybody else. They just help billionaires. Okay, everyone. If you get a tax cut, it doesn't help you. It just helps the billionaires. Got it?
Minimum wage increases, opposing universal child care.
Right. Opposing every government handout. Right. You're right. We do oppose that. We do oppose the government paying for child care. If you can't afford your children, stop having them. Sorry, I said it.
And efforts to expand health care.
We're talking about immigration.
But hang on, if I may.
Be responsible. Don't get pregnant.
But Scott and Mundair, I mean, I actually think we're veering way off course here, because the thing that Donald Trump apparently ran on predominantly is stopping the flow of illegal immigration into the country. When we talk about H-1B visas, we're talking about 85,000 a year of legal immigrants. Okay, legal immigrants. So there are plenty of Republicans right now who are waging an internal war within their party, not about illegal immigration, not about millions of illegal immigrants, but about fewer than 100,000 legal immigrants a year.
No, they're waging war about how they're brought in and whether or not the program they're being brought in through is rife with fraud, abuse, and corruption, Abby Phillips. See, you're trying to turn this into something it's not, and we're not going to fall for it.
I mean, I think that is what is catching people off guard, who have, I guess, more recently joined the MAGA coalition.
Right, and I think President Trump has been very supportive.
No, not right, but go ahead.
Of legal immigrants. I mean, his wife's a legal immigrant. He's expressed this sentiment many, many times. You look at Elon Musk being a great example of someone who came here on an H-1B visa himself. And so I think this is very important that we continue to have the H-1B visas. We want to be competitive in the global economy. But the reality is, and President Trump has also talked about this on many occasions, we don't want to see people coming here being educated in our institutions, being that top 0.01% that Elon Musk or that Scott mentions earlier in engineering or in other fields, and being sent to work for Chinese companies or being sent to work for these other companies. And so we want to make sure that we can continue to have those people coming here, working here, and helping us grow, which helps American workers. But at the same time, we've seen a lot of issues with the H-1B visas. We've seen these workers exploited and American workers hurt in this process. And so I think there's a lot of things and a lot of questions that are coming up in this debate that are legitimate questions. And so I think on both sides, there is a lot of positive coming out of this.
Correct. It's a good discussion to finally have.
I think it's something that needs to be hashed out, not just by Republicans, but by people across the country.
I think it's obviously, it's a
I think you made perfect sense there, but I really can't say that out loud.
Debate. But I do question this idea that when we're talking about the scale of this particular immigrant visa program, whether you're actually really talking about something that, you were talking about harm to American workers, that is happening on a scale that is far greater than the H-1B program.
Okay, so why can't we figure out all of that, Abby Phillips? I know you're desperate to turn this into a race issue, but as I said, the people on the panel, because they're outnumbered now, aren't going to fall for it. They're not going to go down there.
Yeah. I think you have to acknowledge that.
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, we like the percentage of people in the country right now that are foreign born is the highest it's been in over a century. That's not an H-1B visa problem. That's a southern border problem. So that's if not 99%, at least 90% of the immigration problem we're talking about. Trump, if you recall, actually, when Trump went on the All In podcast, which is the most popular podcast on the tech right,
by a lot of immigrants on that podcast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, mostly immigrants on that podcast.
Immigrants, legal immigrants. Say it's.
Yeah. Successful tech entrepreneur immigrants. Yeah. They asked him right at the beginning of the podcast, this H-1B thing, are you for that? And Trump said, you know what, I think that is a good idea. I think we need to bring those people. But after that podcast, he had to walk those comments back. But he was able to manage that during the campaign. But now that they've won, this is a deep fissure within the party.
But Richie Torres wrote this.
Can't you just let Scott Jennings talk, Abby Phillips?
Far-right backlash against Indian immigrants confirms what we in the Democratic Party have long known, that the far right is implacably hostile to all forms of non-European immigrants, regardless of legal status. It's not about status, it's about race. The far right prefers purity over prosperity.
See, she had to bring race up. She couldn't bait anybody on the panel to go that way, right? Except maybe Mondaire Jones. He tried, but he's so dumb he couldn't even. He started going towards tax cuts, but she's got to bring Richie Torres, with this ridiculous post, which is complete nonsense. But she's got to read it because she's got to try to go down this road.
Really false. And I think on any of these visa programs, what any Republican ought to be looking for here is, are they being abused? You mentioned the number of people coming in on H-1Bs. I'm pretty sure not all of them were coming here under the auspices of the program as we would want it. Meaning, are we using it in other visa programs to get the absolute best and brightest engineers? That's the
correct
occupation that keeps being thrown out. So to me, the way forward for Trump is very simple. I want to eliminate the fraud in any of our visa programming. I want to absolutely control the southern border, because I think Coleman is right. That's where the major problem is. We can walk and chew gum at the same time here. If we're recruiting top talent from around the world and eliminating all of the illegal immigration at the southern border, my suspicion is everybody would be quite happy with this after the next couple of years.
Not everybody. I think that's the point, Scott. I think you're continuing to ignore that there are plenty of people who are saying pretty clearly they don't want immigrants to come to this country, whether they are legal or not. They're just, I'm not making that up.
Well, we're going to have, look,
you are making it
disappointed. We're going to have some legal immigration. Trump has said we're going to have some legal immigration, and he's the commander-in-chief, and that's what we're.
So it ends right there. So Abby Phillips, right at the end, you saw that. She's desperate to make this a race issue, and MAGA's racist. They don't want any immigrants coming. No, moron. We do. We want them coming legally, and we don't want it through fraud. We don't want it through abuse. We don't want it through corruption via this program, which appears to be, as I say, rife with all of those. And it needs to be hashed out. It needs to be stopped. Once again, everything the government does, it always veers into some into a corrupt version of what it was actually supposed to be. Look at the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling has been turned into something that it was never meant to be. Now it's used as a cudgel. It was never meant. Everything the government does, it always veers off into some way for somebody else to make money, and usually not the right way. And that's what this H-1B program is at this point. This isn't really a difficult issue to hash out. I think Scott Jennings has the great solution. You bring in the best of the best when an American can't do the job. End of story. 85,000. That's the cap. End it right there. Okay? End it right there. So, Abby Phillips, does anybody that you know ever lost a job to one of the people coming in on a visa like this, where it was unfair that they lost a job? I wonder if that's happened to you or anybody you know, Abby Phillips. So I'm going to leave it there, and tell me what you guys think in the comments. Do you think this rift that's going on right now between Elon Musk and the MAGA base, as the media likes to call it, I really don't think it's that big a deal. I think this will blow over. I think it's a good discussion to have. People like Laura Loomer, they'll just keep saying what they're going to say. They really are not that They're not influential enough to really make any kind of a difference. So it's a lot to do about nothing, but the media was desperate for something, especially when it came to Elon Musk. They've been trying to drive a wedge between Musk and Trump for a long time now because they know it's very dangerous for them to have two guys like this on the same page working together to try to fix things. Okay? So they've been trying to do it, and they think this is their way now. Not going to work. They're both too smart for it, and most of us are too smart for it too. So tell me what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate you watching. Follow me on X. Follow me on TikTok at Opinions Vary. Keep watching here. Subscribe. Please like the video, especially if you made it this far. And we'll talk to you next time right here at Opinions Vary.
Opinions vary.